Am I the asshole for not canceling my doctor appointment and causing my husband's guests to leave? Me F26 and my husband M29 moved out of our hometown right after we got married. He's very close to his friends that he met from high school. He tries to use every opportunity to see them in person and spend time talking to them. He heard that 3 of them were visiting our city for 2 days and they wanted to visit him the day before they leave the city. He was so excited. Prepared everything for their visit and stood at the door waiting for them for an hour. They arrived at 4. I made coffee and brought sweets so my husband could spend more time talking to them. Then he suddenly looked at the clock, which was 5 p.m., and told me to go upstairs so he could talk to me privately. My husband freaked out, saying he had an important meeting with a client via Zoom. And it'd take about 40 million for it to be over, and asked if I could stay with his guests till then. I reminded him I had an appointment with the doctor at 5:15 and couldn't skip it. He asked me to cancel it and stay with the guests. He didn't even want to hear my response. Just rushed out for his meeting. I got dressed and went downstairs. I told his guests that my husband had a 40 million meeting and I had an important appointment with the doctor. Told them they could wait or leave. If they didn't want to wait, they chose to leave. And I went to my appointment. In 45 minutes I got an angry call from him asking why I told his guests to leave instead of sitting with them till he was done with his meeting. Said he missed his friends and wanted to talk to them more. He said I always let him down and act unsupportive, although he always entertained my family when they came to visit. Truth is, he just loves spending hours talking to my brother cause they share a lot of interests. So he wasn't doing it for me. He argued about how I was being negative. And how his friends must have felt awful being kicked out like that. He said I could have gone to my appointment 40 minutes later and explained to the doctor. But that's not how doctor appointments work. We argued back and forth. Everyone in the waiting room was staring at me because of how loud my husband was talking. Till he hung up on me, then sent me a text. With the word selfish in capital letters, SELFISH. I just couldn't stay. I've waited for a week for my appointment. I understand he misses his friends, but this appointment was important as I've been constantly dealing with an unbelievable pain and needed to see the doctor as soon as possible. I've been on medication, but it's not doing much. Just sitting in the waiting room is exhausting in itself, so it's not like I went out with friends. Not the asshole. Does he seriously think you can show up 40 minutes later for a doctor's appointment and say, "Oh, sorry, I'm late"? My husband had a client to meet with and I had to entertain his friends. How would it be fair to the doctor to cancel at the last minute when your spot can't be filled? Not the asshole. His poor planning is not your responsibility. Not the asshole. I have tried to consider how you might be in the wrong and have concluded there is no logical way to believe that you are. Your husband should have gone down to his guests and explained he forgot his client meeting and you had an appointment and asked them nicely to stay. The way he handled it was rude to not just you, but also to them. So your husband has a double appointment, tells you 5 minutes in advance to cancel all your plans so he can have everything his way, and then calls you selfish? The worst thing is that now you are actually wondering if you're the asshole while it's quite clear who actually is. Not the asshole. He could have explained it to them himself and asked them to wait. It's not on you to do that for him. Plus he left before you could say no. And texting USLFISH? This guy is such an ass. Not the asshole. Your husband has basically said his client and then his friends are more important than your health. That's appalling. He should have rearranged his client or explained the situation to his friends himself. This is not on you, op. In 45 minutes I got an angry call from him asking why I told his guests to leave instead of sitting with them till he was done with his meeting. Because, as you said, they're your guests. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. Lack of planning on your part is not cause for an emergency on mine. Not the asshole. You selfish? Absolutely not. You prepared drinks and sweets so your husband could have more time with his friends. He is the one who invited them over while having a Zoom meeting scheduled. He is the one who asked a huge favor of you with only 15 minutes notice. He is the one who prioritizes his friends over your health and well-being. I get that he is disappointed, but he should be angry at himself and his poor planning and not you. Does he often consider his needs more important than yours? If so, that calls for a serious conversation. Not the asshole. He handled that super awkwardly and it's his fault. When he disappears leaving his wife to explain where he just went, that's weird. He should have explained it to his friends himself, found something for them to do for 40 minutes, pulled up a funny stand-up special, game console, whatever it is they enjoy, and handled it like a big boy. Plus, just simply being aware that he had that Zoom call at all would have been helpful. It seems like it took him by surprise. Did he not check his calendar before inviting them over? So your husband either double-booked his day or didn't bother to check his schedule properly, left his friends to take a 40-minute call without saying anything to them, and you are selfish? This guy is terrible. I'm sorry your husband has so little respect for you. Not the asshole. Yeah, y'all need marriage counseling possibly? And your husband sounds like a jerk. Not the asshole. With the current condition the world is in, it can take ages to get a doctor's appointment, possibly weeks depending where you are, and he just wanted you to skip it so he could chat to his friends in person. NTA. Not the asshole. Your husband's request and reaction is so crazy I'm kind of stunned. I'm sorry, I hope you're okay, because honestly his calling and yelling at you so loudly others could hear is abusive. Then texting you selfish? I wish you had responded, yes, you are, because the whole interaction was him being selfish and unreasonable. And he does not and probably will not see that. I'm kind of afraid for you. Please take care and protect yourself. Not the asshole. Y'all need to have a very serious conversation about this, cause it's not okay at all. He was selfish to expect you to cancel a doctor appointment last minute that you clearly made cause you need. Why does he expect you to entertain his friends? They're not even your friends originally. You went above and beyond by supplying them with drinks and sweets. Should have sent back divorce. Not the asshole. It's not like you decided to go shopping or hang out with your mates. He could have rearranged. Your health matters. My doctor's office cancels appointments if you're 5 minutes late. And charges a fee. So yeah, your boy toy clearly doesn't know how doctor's appointments work. Not the asshole, so he double books himself and it's your fault? Nope. He could have cancelled the Zoom meeting or explained to his friends himself. He is being utterly thoughtless. Not the asshole. His friends. His job to entertain. Maybe tell him to only invite people over if he's free and doesn't have a Zoom meeting? Some red flags here, op. Please don't ignore them. Not the asshole. Dude asking you to put your health last so he can get his own way? Nah. Douche move on his part. Not the asshole. You're not an asshole, but your husband certainly is. It's all his fault that he forgot about his meeting. Doctor's appointments are hard to get, especially now due to the pandemic. I had to wait for a month before I could get an appointment with my doctor. And you didn't kick out his friends. You told them they could wait, they chose to leave, and then they either badmouthed you to your husband or he twisted it to make it look like you made them leave. And that nasty text was so wrong. I should hope he's not like this with you all the time. Your husband sucks. Definitely you did nothing wrong, but why wouldn't his friends just hang out and wait? Your husband was just in a short meeting, so they must not have really been down to spend more time with him. Not the asshole. Prities. Doctor's appointments shouldn't be cancelled because a social call overlapped. Appointments can be difficult to get, so use them when you need them. Certainly not the asshole. He could have easily asked his friends to come at a time where he wasn't on a client call. His friends must really miss him if they got up and left. Maybe he's projecting his sadness about that onto you, not acceptable in any shape or form, but maybe an excuse. If someone has close friends, they can sit tight in your living room for 40 minutes. This is not your obligation, and it's your husband's fault for not planning more appropriately. And it's weird for your husband to purportedly be so close to his friends, yet not feel comfortable enough around them to take 2 minutes and explain the situation. He used you as the scapegoat, and the way your husband handled the situation is likely what made the friends feel weird and want to leave. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. I hope you texted back douchebag. Your husband is sad because his friends don't like him as much as he likes them. He would have waited hours for them, so he doesn't understand why they wouldn't wait 40 minutes for him. He's blaming you because he would rather be angry than sad. If he makes this your fault, then he can pretend that his friends are as desperate for his company as he is for theirs. Clearly, they are not. You acted in the most reasonable way possible in that situation, not the asshole. Edit. Just want to add that I'd probably hang out for 40 minutes without my host if they told me they had to leave for 40 minutes, but I definitely wouldn't stay if my host left the room to talk privately with his wife and then didn't come back. So if his friends did feel like they were getting kicked out, that's still on him. If this happened the way you said it did, you are very obviously not the asshole. I don't see any rationalization to the contrary, and if I do say so myself, I'm fairly adept at looking at both sides of the story. I don't see another side here. I see your side, and I see an asshole. Not the asshole. Info, sounds like there's more information here than you're letting on. If he immediately jumped to, "You're not supporting me with my friends and family but I do the same for yours," then I feel like there's a history you're not sharing. Do you not like his friends? Not the asshole. It's wrong of him to ask you to cancel your doctor's appointment since you have waited for it for weeks. It could be asked him to that if he wanted his friends to stay he could have asked his client to do meeting afterwards. Which is also wrong, no assholes here but he also not the asshole. Why couldn't he just show up late to his meeting? I roll not the asshole. Not the asshole go to the doctor WTH is wrong with him? There has to be a bigger issue here blowing up like that over a doctor's appointment? He's ethier nuts or there is a lot of unsaid stuff between the two of you that might need to be talked about. But you're not selfish for taking care of yourself. Especially during times like these I'm in and out of the doctor's office RN so I know how that feels to finally be seen and helped. Not the asshole. Wait, his friends left? Great friend, eh? Not the asshole. He waited an hour by the door. Really that's pathetic. He can entertain his own guests but cannot make you change your plan. He wasn't willing to change his own plans. If they showed up late then that's their problem. Sigh. If it's so important to him then he should miss his appointment, not you miss yours. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. Your husband is acting irrational. Lack of planning on your part does not constitute an emergency on my part, no offense, but your husband is a douche. Not the asshole. This man doesn't care about you. He does not care about your needs or your health. Do what you will with that info. Not the asshole. Not the asshole male friends? There's more to this. His friends are not your responsibility. They were late, and he had a meeting, none of that is your deal. Otherwise, are you a wife or a social coordinator? Not the asshole, doctors don't take kindly to last-minute cancellations. Also, if you are in pain it's best to not wait for a time they can reschedule you. You didn't kick them out, he ran off without even explaining why and even more oddly letting them know about his meeting when they got there. He did wrong by them and you in a very selfish manner and is now calling you exactly what he is, like a child. Very much not the asshole. I'm glad you went to the doctor's appointment. That would have been awful to cancel it so last minute anyway. Not the asshole. Your boyfriend is acting like a child. It's his own fault he didn't remember his meeting and asking you to cancel your doctor's appointment? Ridiculous. Not the asshole. Your husband sounds pretty childish. I understand he's excited to see his friends, but he stood by the door waiting for them for an hour? Then he kicks off because you won't cancel a doctor's appointment, and sends you a one-word text message because he's sulking about not spending time with his mates? You've done nothing wrong, but he honestly sounds more like a 10-year-old than a 29-year-old. Not the asshole. First of all you can tell him that he's a shitty friend and that's why they bailed, not because of you. He didn't even say anything to them, he just disappeared. No wonder they felt uncomfortable. They were probably annoyed, too. People forget things but he didn't even open his mouth, he ran to get his wife to do it. Does he do anything positive in the relationship? Because I'm really annoyed for you already. Tell him you didn't marry a high schooler and he needs to act like a proper adult. Not the asshole, ask him if he can show up to his Zoom meeting 40 minutes late. Not the asshole and he wussed out by dashing out the door and leaving it to you to explain to his guests where he went and that you also had an appointment. Not the asshole. Why couldn't the friends entertain themselves for 40 minutes? I mean, I've just accidentally wasted at least 40 minutes on Reddit this morning, without really noticing.